Whoops.
I don't know if you had it going already.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah. We'll start this off like we always do with absolutely no idea what we're doing. Um,
Fly by night.
does anyone have anything that's burning their biscuits? Anything um, that's stopping production or changing revenue? That really is the kind of thing that gets everyone's attention. Is there something broken that we needed to chat about? And if not, that's fantastic. If Enrique is actually listening today, I have some good news for him.
Of course, I'm
Of
listening. Good morning,
course,
everyone.
of course. Good morning, Enrique. Enrique had a great question. He noticed that if you're looking in the settings area under all of the different kinds of alerts that are have a nice little graphic fly out that shows you, hey, we monitor for API connection fails for this, that, the other thing. Well, an API connection fail is mission critical. If I'm not getting data from an application, that would be bad, I think is the general way to put that. And the GUI misreports that we are only monitoring 6 of the applications. Enrique will be happy to know that every single application on our stack, one of the very first things that our dev guys do is build in the alert so that if there is an API failure from IT Glue, from Microsoft, from anything, you will absolutely get an alert. You get a critical alert in your PSA. It will flow to your email or PSA. And so even though, again, the GUI is sort of not showing what we might like, they tested every application we've got in the background, all dozen plus, and they will all, if there's a broken API, send you an alert. So sleep easy, Enrique. Give me it. Okay, go ahead, talk to me.
So, okay, so we solved one, but still one down. So I wonder, maybe, well, let me see how to phrase this one. I did not get any alert except if it's in the 1,000 alerts in the PSA, which don't jump up and tell me, hey, Enrique, look over here, I need you. So to me, that sort of situation is a text message, kill me till I make it work, kind of
Right.
thing. I'm gonna actually go right now into auto task and look at the ticket, see if there's anything talking about API failure. But I did the last week when you all were going through it, I copied and did the new remediation or alert, so it texts me. I don't know if there's a way to test it, if you guys can disconnect my APIs or something so we know it works. But yeah, I think the other thing would be, how do you make those critical ones, or that, especially that one? Because I think at the end of the day, if we don't have the API communication, we don't have SaaS alerts.
Exactly. Um, all I can say is our dev guys tested, and the alert you're looking for in your PSA is app.connection failed. So actually, let me paste that into, well, there we are. Yeah, but app.connection.failed, that one right there. That one you could easily build if it was something that, you thought was critical to your business. You could easily build a respond rule that said, hey, text me if this ever fails. There we are.
I did
Good.
last time.
That doesn't actually work, Anthony. And I
Talk to
could
me,
tell
man.
you
What's
why.
happening?
I could tell you why, but I'm going to let you figure it out. Why doesn't a respond rule work for all of our products for this particular API issue?
I must admit, as the sun is coming up and blinding me in the face, I don't know.
Eric V's got his hand up. Let's see if he knows.
I may have discovered this morning and opened a ticket for it as well. Is it because it's above at the partner level and not down at the actual organization level? Oh.
No. We can play along. I'll see who finally gets it, and then when you guys toss the towel in, I'll tell you why.
Is it because it doesn't, it's expecting a No, well, you start with an alert in order to respond, so.
Uh-huh.
This Unify, is that what I'm
All
understanding?
right. So the reason is respond keys off of Microsoft product events only.
Oh, bloody hell.
So while the events are logged, and you can see them on my screen here for many of our products, all of these log a critical event and will get sent to your PSA or your email connector. However, respond will not key off of G Suite, Datto, Kaseya, IT Glue, Ninja, all of those, because respond is only looking at Microsoft.
Till
You die
next
by
year.
your own sword.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. So,
Thank you for that, Adam.
yep. I hate having lies and information spread around, Anthony.
No,
So-
no, no.
In the
We just get
response,
Go ahead, Eric.
when you're making a respond rule, down on the bottom, there's a checkbox that says only run on connected respond clients or something.
Mhm.
What is the purpose of that? And was it best practice to check that or to not check that, or what's the use case for each
So-
situation?
Ben, Anthony, do you guys want to take that, or do you want me to take a stab at it?
I'll take a stab at it and then you can keep me honest.
All
When
right.
you jump into the respond module, we haven't actively connected by default your clients. So you have to go through the process to plug in their GA creds, right? But that doesn't mean I can't read what's happening. Now, if you build a respond rule that says reach back to Microsoft and make a change, that requires global admin creds. However, if all we're doing is reading the API data into respond and using that as criteria to inform you of something, not reach back and make a change, that's where that particular checkbox comes in. So if you wanted to monitor, look for criteria change, that's where that would be. Adam, did I cover that?
I think you
near
got it.
correctly?
I'll say it again, because sometimes you tell them what you told them and tell them again. I actually don't know where the checkbox is. I'm literally looking for it. Respond's not my product. I'm the MSP tools guy. My understanding, and I think what you said was correct, but to simplify it, we're getting events all the time because manage is doing what it's supposed to do. So we have the event that we need to key off of and respond. But when we need to go take action, like go lock an account, that requires the respond permission to be in there as well, which is what this little fixed connection thing is telling me, is that I have orgs that the respond app that needs to get deployed to do what we do is not there or not working. So that checkbox basically says, ignore actions on those accounts and orgs that respond can't do what it needs to do. And what that keeps from happening is loading up your alerts with all kind of failed respond events. So my opinion, best practice, if it were me, I would leave it unchecked. Because if something's broken, I would want to be alerted up the wazoo until it was fixed, so that I don't have a lack of security somewhere or a lack of action. I don't like the checkbox or the uncheck box or whichever one it is, the ignore one.
Yeah, it's
Because-
on the organization and accounts tab.
Where is it? Ah, there it is. I'm like, I don't even know where it is, but there it is.
Well, fun fact, if you leave that unchecked and your action is do nothing, it will be successful because it's just alerting you.
Yeah, do nothing is not actually a Microsoft action.
Yeah.
It is basically log only in SaaS Alerts world.
Mhm.
So this might solve one of my other problems. So if I check that, will I still get that the action was successful if I have alert only?
Yeah, because it is successfully did nothing.
I don't know the answer to that. That is
Yeah.
one of those ones where I'm not going to take a guess on somebody else's product.
Yep. That's what I've heard, is that if it's
Modules.
do nothing, it's successful.
Right, but if you've got the alert, if you've got the action set to, block sign in, and you have this checked, what pops out of the system, I think, is the question.
So if that's checked, then it's only going to run it if that's actually connected. But if it's not connected, I think you would just get a failure because it doesn't have the permissions to do that.
I think that's one of those takeaways to get the right answer.
So then
Loves
no
me some
solution.
research. What was that, Enrique?
So no solution to get alerted.
On
Or
the
anything
the
other than
API
Microsoft.
fails, yeah. If the API fails, the only one that you'll get an SMS text alert via respond is going to be Microsoft. All of the other tools will create a critical alert and will be sent to either your email address or your PSA. And from there, you could have a workflow rule that does the magic. That said, I did see your request come through, and I own the mobile app. And I thought, man, that'd be a great push notice for the mobile app. So the issue there, though, is just this is kind of a multi-module product manager thing. So while my mobile app is ready to receive it, we have to have the manage side of the house or the respond side of the house ready to make the push notifications. So I think
That also.
yeah.
Yep. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say in 2024, I think you're gonna see more happening with the mobile app now that the app is there. We just need to plug in push notifications and things from the manage and the respond side of the house into it.
Any reason why SMS is not part of the alerting for the API, like ticket and email?
Do you, well, I don't know the answer for certain, but I can pretty much guess what Chip or Jim would say. And the general consensus is that we hate SMS. It's unreliable. It, in some countries, isn't unlimited. And it costs us a lot of money and a lot of headache to deal with the hurdles that we have to jump through for text messaging to be compliant. So our goal is to move towards the push notifications via the mobile app.
I agree. It's just right. There's nothing less reliable than me right now not seeing them. So 3 things is better than 2. Now that might be my issue. I don't know how to configure all the workflows and rules and stuff in auto task, but 3 is better than 2. For
now,
me.
what you could do, and this is just my own personal hack, your text message phone has an email address. Like I think mine's my 10-digit phone number at AT&T.com or something. And you could theoretically do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy, thank you for your patience. It looks like you've had your hand up for a moment or 3.
I have. I'm going through and saying, guys, it'd be great if we had a document in SaaS Alerts that would say, this is where we go to see if an organization is broken. This is where we go to see if Unify is broken with our PSA or RMM, excuse me. Basically, in this time, I'm looking at a bunch of little nuisances that I don't have awareness unless I'm specifically looking for them. And maybe I'm not understanding how to properly configure SaaS Alerts to tell me, hey, I can no longer connect to this Microsoft tenant. Hey, your PSA, I'm sorry, your RMM is not talking with Unify. You got a new customer that needs to be mapped. Just overall management and fixing things that break. And doing that in a concise manner and directed so that it's just part of a, hey, is there anything that needs to be maintained on SaaS Alerts? Great, no, then I'm moving on to my next task, right? Is there such a thing, Ben?
Apparently no, but that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I just wrote it down.
Yeah.
So I see 2 ways of cracking that just at first glance would be a report.
Status page.
But
I might need to be alerted in the event that there's a severe, hey, your RMM connection with Unify is broken. Okay.
Yeah. No, I like that idea. I'll take that back to Amanda, who will probably own that piece of it. but I do like that idea.
And guys, I see you're starting to put YouTubes in. Have a little YouTube about here's how to here's the best practice in the day of a SaaS Alerts cloud security professional, right? If you're depending on the phase, right? Here's what you should be looking at overall. I think that would be a great supplement.
All right, Ben,
I'm
so we're
done
gonna have to
speaking.
film
Thanks.
you getting your coffee and kicking the dogs out and doing all that
I
stuff
mean,
and settling in.
kicking the
and-
dogs out. They're right behind me. They're my office mates. That's who I
That's,
talk to at the water
all
cooler.
joking aside, thank you for the feedback, Andy.
For
That's
sure.
that's some valid feedback. What are the top 10 things that we see people doing with SaaS alerts every day? What are the sort of things you look at?
Mhm.
That's not that's not out of the ballpark by any stretch.
Definitely.
I think Manage does a good job every time I log in. If something's disconnected, telling me it's disconnected,
Does.
then but with Fortify and Respond, that's where sometimes I go in and I'll find, oh yeah, somebody got disconnected for some reason.
Right.
I know that there is an overhaul being made on the connection piece of this to kind of, I hate to use the word unify, but to unify the three: Manage, Fortify, Respond into kind of like one thing. And you guys might get what you're asking for as part of that. But again, that's not my module, so I don't know the specifics of it.
And by the way, does everyone on this call know who Adam is?
I don't know that I know who I am.
Day to day, yes.
God.
Well, I'll just tell you who I am. So I have been at SaaS Alerts 2+ years now, and I am the product manager for the MSP tools plus mobile app now. So all of the integrations related to the MSP side of the house, so IT Glue, all the RMMs, the PSA ticketing stuff, that's all under my umbrella, as well as Unify. And then, like I said, the mobile app was kind of a, hey, can I build it? Will you let me? And they let me. So that was pretty cool. Now it's like, let's get some use out of it.
Quick question
are.
right now that they mentioned there's alerting when you log into the platform. It'd be nice to have, we have a couple of customers that they're co-managed and they configure SaaS alerts by themselves. We send them the link. Obviously, that's not available for Fortify.
Yet.
And they haven't been able to get on a call with us, so we could do a team share and they could put in their credentials. Would be nice to be able to say, hey, don't alert this company, because every time we go in, you get used to seeing that one or two alerts that distracts you from everything else. So now they become kind of part of life.
Yeah. Enrique, I would love it, and the other product managers would love it if you would use our enhancement request board. And unlike some vendors out there, we actually look at it every single week and categorize it and update it. And I rip ideas from there regularly. So keep the fire hose coming and, definitely fill it out.
Hey, do you guys have any updates yet on the report side of the system?
In which regard?
Nothing new I'm sorry, go ahead, Adam.
I was gonna say, in which regard?
Well, it takes a lot of time when you're flipping, when you go over to the report side and you choose the report that you want, and then the first thing you got to do is pick your firm, and then you got to pick your start date and then your end date. I feel, and I've asked before, but I feel like I should be able to choose an organization and then flip through the reports, pick a static, reporting period and click through the different reports and pull the data, instead of having to always choose my org and then my start date. And it would also be nice, and I know some of the others have agreed with this in the past, but to have a 30, 60, 90-day button where you can just click it and have it just pull that information.
Yeah, again, not my world of the product, so to speak.
Gotcha.
That is the other product manager, Amanda. So I can't really speak on that as far as what's coming down the pike. Unfortunately, I don't have any insight.
I do
Yeah,
know that
Steve,
they are
I
working on a
know
new
your
report.
requests have been bubbled up, and that 30, 60, 90 day, not only for the analyze option, but for over on the reporting side,
Mhm.
has been a frequent request. So I know it's in their backlog someplace. Right now, I think that because until Thursday, um, the Fortify is the latest and sexiest thing. That's getting a lot of attention. That's getting a lot of dev hours. So I don't want to say that yours has been sent to the back of the line, but because it hasn't. But I'm not going to say I don't believe those are going to happen anytime this quarter. So I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. I mean, this quarter is this month, so I would say that's
Exactly.
real safe to say.
So back
But
of
we
the
have
line,
not
got it.
we have not forgotten. And Steve, I'm in front of our dev team on once a week. I'll see if I can just ask, hey, is this 3 steps down? Is this 3 years away? Give a guy a break. Let Steve know at least ballpark where this is.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, I just every time I come in here, it's always so much fun, especially when I'm looking for different pieces of information. So,
I see a
Just
post
like
in the
myself.
chat here from David saying, are there any plans for deeper conditions in the suppression? I can kind of talk around that a little bit with just hearsay knowledge, but I can't really guarantee anything. Most of this is probably going to be managed via respond. So you would take the original event or alert, for instance, the policy event, security policy change, and throw that down to a low. And then you would go into respond and use the conditions within respond to create, that conditional piece of it again, to elevate it back up. And that is the procedure today. Although we have been talking quite a lot about deeper whitelisting and suppression and pulling more of respond kind of forward. So, but that again would not happen this quarter.
I think it's whitelisting 2.0.
Exactly. Great conversation, some great stuff to come up. I love the discussion. But Adam, as you might see, is a little bit different guest than some of our regular folks. Adam, anything you guys want to talk about from your side of the house today?
Not really. I was just trying to get off or having to go to other calls. I just jumped on here for fun. So no, I'm just kidding.
Well, then, Adam, let me ask you this. During onboarding, I often call our friend Unify a monomaniacal machine because it does one thing and it does it very well. Would you say that's true?
I don't know that I know the definition of monomaniacal. Can you define that for me first?
One thing, does it very well,
Okay.
and is focused only on one thing.
Well, I would say until today, that was true. Although we're doing two things now, which is pretty cool. And that's actually why I'm here today, is because I kind of want to show you what is kind of brewing in the background, sausage making, so to speak. So if you'll let me, what I think I'm going to do, unless I get loud no's, is I'm going to give a quick overview of Unify, what it is, how to configure it, and then I'm going to show you some of the new stuff that's happened in the last 30 days. So I think if you guys are all right with that, I'm all right with that. And I don't see anybody saying heck no. So let me roll. I'm going to share my screen, and I have to admit, I am woefully unprepared. So I'm going to dance here a little bit, but I think that I'll get the point across. So let's roll here. So I guess if you, in your chat window, if you're using Unify today and actually have mapped devices, can you just throw like a Y in there? And if you haven't set it up yet, throw a no or an N. I just like to kind of get an idea of what level I'm talking at. And if there's all Y's, then I'll move. Okay, there's an N. All right, good enough. Cool. All right, so Unify. What Unify does is we are importing device data in from the RMM. And then we are comparing the device data that we're getting from the RMM to the SaaS alerts that we're getting out of all of our other products. Let's use Microsoft, for example, just because I think that's what most people are using our product for today. And once we've pulled that device data in from the RMM and compared it to the SaaS alerts that are coming through from the different products, we are able to, with a certain level of certainty, tell you whether that activity is coming from an RMM managed device or not. Okay? So, for instance, when you turn on Unify, and I'll show you how to do it in a second, and you get your first device mapped, this device column is going to pop up for you. If you don't have Unify running, this device column should not show up for you. The second you turn Unify on, map the first one, boom, device column. And when you're looking at the device column, there's a few different values that you could have. The most important one, I think, there's really two. Number one is you actually see the device name here and a 60%. And if I click on this, and can you guys see that pop up sometimes when I'm sharing? Okay, cool. So this pop-up is actually telling you why we think that that activity that was happening was provided or was done on Adam's MacBook. So first things first, we look at the event IP address. So Slack provide us an IP that the activity occurred from. And we're comparing the IP that Slack provided us to the IP address that the RMM has provided us. And then we do the same thing for the OS, the device name, and then permutations of the person's full name, their email address, and then the device name and the currently logged on user. And when we do all that magic, we're saying here that Adam did this thing in Slack, and I'm 60% certain it happened on Adam's MacBook. The flip side is an unknown device. So this is the opposite of that. It's saying Microsoft saw me sign in, and it's coming from an unknown device. So that's the reverse. Microsoft provided us the IP, the OS. We looked it up, and I currently was not performing that activity from a device that had an RMM agent installed. Okay? That's the basis level of Unify. Before I go further, questions? All right. Let me look at the chat window here. Love Ninja. Well, I'm reading Ben. I can't say that I love it. Like it's okay. So that's Unify in a nutshell. And then it gets more powerful as you layer on additional things. So for instance, layering on Respond. So now I can do something like, if Microsoft sign-in occurs outside approved location and from an unknown device, then take action. Or I could flip that around and say something like, if a login occurs outside approved location, but is on a known device with a certain level of certainty, ignore it. Now we don't have people who are forgetting to tell you that they're traveling out of the country, and then all of a sudden alarm bells are going off. You're able to very quickly tell that that login happened from their RMM device. So unless they manage to leave the country, get the credentials, steal a token, and end up with an RMM agent on their computer that you mapped to their user, ain't happening. All right. So very rapidly, for those of you who have not set this up yet, if you go into your org for your MSP and you add your RMM, I'll use Ninja here just because Ninja was mentioned earlier. I'll answer your question in a moment, Andy. So in Ninja, once you have configured it, you will be presented with this thing that says, hey, map the SaaS Alerts organization to the Ninja One organization. And when I do that, that is what fires Unify to start doing the magic. Now, I will mention this just released today. So in your world, you can click this little on right here. And what that's going to say is, if the SaaS Alerts organization is named 100% identically to the Ninja One or the other RMM org, we're just going to map it automatically. No reason to come in here and do it manually any longer. Once you have mapped an account or an organization or turned this on and it did it for you, then I'm going to hit finish here. And then at that point, Unify is doing the associations and the data analysis that it needs to do. If we come over to this Unify module here, the next step is we can come in here and we can say, let's do the mapping. And, you know, you could theoretically map multiples at the same time, or you can come over here and click one at a time to map it or ignore it. Or if you'll notice in this particular situation, my MacBook has a confidence of 49 to 58%. And it's saying, hey, do you want to see potential accounts? And if I click on this see potential accounts, you're going to see I have 2 possible accounts here that it's offering to map. And there's a reason why there's multiple. My wife, same last name, same household, works for SaaS Alerts, logs in from a Mac, same IP address. So what's cool though, is it's actually smart enough to bump me up higher. And the reason is, if you look, the full name and the device, or sorry, the email and the device name match 65%. Whereas with Carly's here, it does not. So it was smart enough in the same household with the same IP, with the same OS to recommend me. And so now I've mapped that account. The other thing, once you've mapped the account, to talk about is this new tab that I've added recently. Because who wants to sit there and look at all these things manually all day long? Not me. If you come in here, we've now added this automation screen. And at a high level, you turn on map devices, map all organizations, you pick a confidence level. My experience so far is 65 is pretty good. If you get up to 80, 85, you can pretty much take it to the bank. And so pick your minimum confidence score. You can pick some options over here. You can hit run what if, and I don't have any, unfortunately, but if you hit run it what if, it's going to say, hey, this is what we're going to do if we did allow it to map automatically. And then you can actually set it up, save it, and go. And now the organizations will map automatically in the RMM. And then the devices are going to map automatically in Unify. And it will basically just leave you the ones that are less than 65% to decide what you want to do with them. Okay. Questions so far? I do see some in the chat window, which I will roll through. All right.
I turn on automatically map. I already had them manually map, but when I go to finish, it does nothing.
Where is this?
On the screen for the organization, the MSP organization, to map the RMM.
So if you were
company.
in here,
Yep, in our own.
which tool?
For data RMM.
Okay. I have mine broken, unfortunately. Okay. So what you're saying is, and I'll just pop up here real quick, and this might be just a support ticket that you deal with. So you turn this on.
Correct. And then when I go to finish, and it just circles and stays there.
Okay. Go ahead and shoot a support ticket in for that. And it may end up falling right back on my desk anyway, but that obviously is not ideal. All right. Moving in here, blah, blah, blah. Can we tie mobile devices with Unify? Not yet. It is on my list. I really want to do it. It will likely happen next year. I'm just trying to figure out where most people put their devices. And so far, Intune, Adigy, JamF, and Ninja actually just released a beta version of MDM. So just kind of looking to see where the heaviest usage is, and then we will start to move on that hopefully next year. When I finish the screen, nothing happens. Saw that already. Let's tick it open. Further multiple devices tied, same account. Okay, so you can tie multiple devices to the same account. However, you cannot assign multiple accounts to a single device. So a terminal server, for instance, we don't allow you to map multiple devices. There's a reason. I'm not going to get too deep into it today, but there's a reason why we don't. And I do have something that I'm working on that might give us something similar to that solution. If a device is added later, does it automatically try to map? If you have the automatic mapping on, it will. All right. And it looks like Adam's seeing the same thing. Are you a Datto guy, Adam? Ninja. All right. Well, then I don't know what it is. Go ahead and log a ticket and I'll have to figure it out. That's what happens when we get a new, it literally just released like today. So there might be a bug in it. All right. So we talked about connecting your REMM, mapping the organizations, mapping the devices. And now what will happen once you've done that is you will start to get things inside your analysis tab. Oops. In that details, the device column there. And you've done nothing at this point other than enhance the alerts. No action is going to be taken. Nobody's going to get locked out. There is literally no reason at this point to not turn that on. All it is going to do is improve the data that you get and the ability to troubleshoot things. So let's try to find one here. Adam at SaaSalerts.net and Adam at SaaSalerts.com. Okay. And since you guys are the techie geeks, I'll just show you a couple more things. So let me find a known device. So in here, if you click this magnifying glass and you pop over here into the search window as soon as it loads.
It only does this on demos.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so if I come in here and type device, you're gonna kind of see the magic, so to speak, that's kind of happening. These are the ingredients for the sausage, so to speak. So in here, there's a lot of different data points that you can see, and you can kind of start to put together maybe what we're doing in the background. The most important ones, can Unify evaluate true? So we can't do Unify things at this point in time without the IP and the OS being available from the event source. So for instance, I had an event earlier where Ninja said incomplete device data. It's because we didn't get at least the IP and the OS, and those are the ones that I am considering to be base level in order for something to happen. So that one's a really, really important one. And then the other one that is really important is the device confidence. So this is the percentage basically of how confident we are in that particular match. And then there's other details on there that you can probably figure out on your own. But that data is effectively what's feeding this chart here. Okay, so, integration isn't working in Automate either. All right, well, we pushed something out that was crap, apparently. I will have to figure that out and get it fixed.
It's not crap, it just has a little boo-boos.
Yeah, you know, what's the point of a finish button? Nobody needs a finish button. It should just know.
I went back and checked in case it did save, but it doesn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is amazing. Our QA guys, that went through 2 levels of QA. So I'm very surprised, but it's possible something didn't merge right, and I'll get on it quickly. All right, moving on from there. I will tell you why most people don't use this and why I hate the fact that most people don't use this. The biggest objection that I get is I can't set up a respond rule to lock an account based on an unknown device because my client allows their employees to use their home computer to log in, and their home computer doesn't have the RMM agent. Wah, wah, wah. So as much as I love this product and this ability to tie it to respond, unless you have clients that legitimately only allow their employees to log in from RMM agent managed machines, turning respond on with heavy actions like locking the user out may not be what you want to do. However, you can still use respond with the do nothing action to rise things up. Because if somebody's logging in legitimately, and maybe they're out of the country and it's an unknown device, that's going to be something I want my team to prioritize. Yes, Andy.
Isn't there a real security issue allowing customers with business email compromise on rampant to use machines that we are not able to establish confidence? And is that something that should be communicated or could be enhanced? We could enhance communication to our customers and prospective customers.
I did have a partner who said, you know, our policy with our client is to not allow employees to log in from non-managed devices. And we set up a do nothing log event so that our account manager can farm for clients that are not adhering to our policy. And I thought that was a kind of neat way to use it. I mean, the reality is you shouldn't be logging in for business email compromise purposes from machines that are not protected and monitored. But whether you guys want to hardline your clients or not, that's up to you. Okay, so let's talk about what's exciting. So that is Unify with some new features and enhancements that came out over the last month. I'll show you what we dropped today that I would love for you guys to take a look at. So I'm a big fan of memes. So, you know, Vince McMahon here on the first one, you know, impossible travel was cool. But then threat actors started buying IP addresses in your country or in your region. And then they token harvest. So that was cool. And then, you know, March, I think, of this year, we released Unify, which is the second one, where we're making sure that the IP, the OS, the name, the email, the device name, and basically it is an RMM managed machine. And by doing that, we now kicked hacker ass on the ability to buy an IP in the region and then still token harvest and get into the account. Now, the third item, which is the new one, is Entra ID. So I have a hard time calling it Entra, not Azure ID, but when you join a Windows box to an Entra thingy-majigger, I don't even know what to call it nowadays, that device is assigned a GUID. And that GUID is called an Entra device ID. And so what we have found, and I did a review yesterday, about 25% of the login events that we get from Microsoft come across with an Entra device ID inside the Microsoft event. For a month, we have been ingesting those. And if you were really tricky and good at our platform and really, really deep, you might have actually seen that information buried inside the magnifying glass next to the events already. And I'm going to switch screens here real quick in a second. So we've been ingesting the Microsoft side of the house for a while. As of the release this morning that hit production, we're now giving you the ability to set up a custom field in your RMM where you store that Microsoft Entra ID. So now we have it on the Microsoft side. We have it on the RMM side. The next step is Unify can actually use that in the equation, which is way better than IP address, OS, device map, whatever. That device ID it's unique. So let me pull up this for you, and I will show you where did my share screen go? Hold on a minute. Sorry, I use Google Meet more than I use Zoom. All right. So this is Ninja. And all the RMMs are documented. I have them. This is a VM that Ben runs. And if we look in the custom fields here, I have a custom field now called Microsoft Entra Device ID. And if I come in here and I go to scripts, tell me, Ben, please, it's been a while. Up here. Okay.
Yeah.
Maintenance. I don't even know where I hid it. Where did I hide that? No. Where is the scripts?
Automation and scripts.
Great. Thank you. I have a script called Intra Device, and I'm going to run it here. And what we're going to see here, as soon as this script runs, is that this little custom field here is going to be populated with the machine's Entra ID. Let's see. Script has started. Maybe.
I imagine in the community, we already have that script, right?
It is in the documentation that is being released at the same time. So I'll show you that doc next. It's about a 5-line PowerShell script. And I have provided decent instructions for every RMM that we support. We will get it here shortly, hopefully. Success. Maybe. Come on, baby.
Adam, does this Entra ID also apply to mobile devices?
No. Well, I don't know. I have largely ignored mobile at the moment. I would imagine unless it's Intune, managed or joined or whatever. I clearly am on a demo that I didn't prepare for, and I may have screwed the script up. Fear not, I will show you what it looks like if it did actually work. All right, so
Look at that beautiful Entra ID.
magic. So if I didn't boof the script in the process of getting everything documented and playing with and breaking it yesterday, this is what would have showed up in Ben's little VM there. And so if you create this custom field and you put this in there, as of this morning, we are going to start reading it into Unify. Now, my dev is in the process as we speak of implementing it into our confidence score and our matching algorithm. I would imagine by the end of this month, it will be there. So my ask for you guys is to do the thing and get, and I'll show you the doc here, get it set up. Oh, I guess I didn't have to change that. It does it automatically. Share. Are you seeing the instructions now?
Good, Adam.
You do? Okay. So this document here, information on Microsoft Entra ID, explains what it is. It explains how we're going to use it. It gives you the overview of the steps. Here is a PowerShell example. And then I have product-specific instructions for all of the RMM tools that we currently manage and support. Now, I am far from being an expert in all of these tools, and I probably messed up the instructions. So, because you probably are an expert in your RMM tool, please follow these instructions. And when you find that I have missed a step or said something incorrect, please get back to me and correct me. That would be amazing, so I can help out our partner community. But if you get this running and we start seeing the data in, it's going to help my dev do what my dev does, which is connect the dots between the Microsoft data and the RMM data and include it in the calculation score. And instead of you guys hitting the finish button and it not working, when we release it, it might actually work the first time. So having data is super, super important to us.
Sorry, I asked you at the beginning, where are you pulling inside Azure or Entra? Where are you pulling the GUID from?
So the GUID gets pulled. This command on your Windows box is what pulls the data out of the machine. And then using your RMM tool, you store it in a custom field. And then we're pulling it from the custom field. On the Microsoft side, Microsoft provides it to us, from what I can tell, automatically when it is an intra-joined device and you are logging in natively. We get that alert today.
So that's primarily for the machine to have the GUID and you to pull it via the script.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be Azure AD joined.
Correct. Yep.
Because I know
Go ahead.
sometimes
Enrique.
when you configure business email on Microsoft Windows without even doing an Azure AD joined, the machine will register. That's why I'm looking inside Azure, trying to see if we can find that ID going back to the mobile phone. Because you don't have to be joined for it to pop up inside Azure. As long as you connect to one of Microsoft's emails or log into something, it's going to record that machine.
Well, the issue with being cutting edge, bleeding edge, like we are at SaaS Alerts, is that I honestly don't know the full answer of how you create it, when it gets there, and which events we're going to get it from. We're kind of blazing new territory here, like we do with many things. So I don't know. Data will tell.
My Android phone, I do not have an Intune registered. And I'm looking at Azure logs, and I do see it with a device ID and an object ID. Very similar to the numbers you pulled, like all Microsoft. So just wondering if it's one of those numbers.
Yeah, it'd be cool. So mobile is, again, I won't say it's top of my list for 2024, but it's up there. And
Adam?
yes, Andy.
I'm sorry, you finish your statement and
I was gonna say,
I'll ask my question.
It'll get there eventually, and the more data I start to see, the easier it is to connect the dots.
So here's my question within SaaS Alerts is that you could potentially have a collection of device IDs that are applicable to a login. And one of them might be RMM managed, one of them might be an iPhone, one of them might, so there's nothing for a Mac at the moment, even though it's logging in. Is that correct?
I have not seen it on a Mac.
Okay, well, I'm basically saying what I'm hearing from Enrique, which might be worth investigating, is if I log in to my Microsoft 365 account from a Mac, does it create a unique device ID? And then what we have is, it does. And so I'm trying to convey that a set of device IDs could be associated with a cloud login coming from Unify or coming independently and saying, these are the trusted devices. And then you have a more holistic piece that covers even outside of home systems that aren't part of an environment that are managed.
The tricky part with that, though, Andy, is how do I know to trust that device ID that we just saw?
So
that's the thing about yeah, we would have to tell you which ones are acceptable and which ones are not. So if it's not part of a defined set, either from Unify, which is one source of truth, or from a source of truth where we define those other devices, be it mobile, iPad, you name it, or Apple, then we have it. Or give us the script to be able to capture that and send it up.
Yes.
So that that would be, I think, really powerful here, because that takes us to a whole new level.
Every device.
I love it when you guys bring me great ideas on the day that I release something. I'm like, guys, look what I did. And I'm like, yeah, but did you? I'm like, come on.
No. This is just enhancement.
What have you done for me lately, Adam?
Man,
yeah.
I'm in awe with this. It's amazing. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
The fact that we can tie devices to a login and offer cloud security on it, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge for Microsoft. Now, keep in mind, this is Microsoft only, right? So it does handle, 98% of what you guys are probably monitoring with us, but it does, G Suite as of right now, I'm not aware of a device ID for G Suite. I'm not aware, for all of the other products we monitor, but for Microsoft, this definitely is awesome.
And you will only be able to pull from an RMM field. So
today. Yeah.
Okay. It have multiple fields with the same name. Will you pull all of them?
Or make it common delimited so that we could do a set.
Yeah. So there are ways. Yeah. I mean, I just need to get this working first and see the magic, and then we can start looking at how to apply it elsewhere. I do want to at least shout out this Entra ID thing was proposed to me by Daniel Schoen of Layer 1 Networks. So he was the first person to tip me off on this and really chokeholded me like you're gonna do this. And so I'd love to say that I'm a genius, but he definitely gets the award on opening my eyes to this. So
the exercise was left to the student, I think, as my professors were used to say. Guys, we're wrapping up on time. I do have a hard stop, and I believe Ben does as well at the top of the hour. Adam, thank you so much for the deep dive and revealing some of the new stuff you did, as well as sort of teasing what's coming in the future. I think that Entra ID is going to be not a game changer, but that is going to be a huge ad. I really genuinely believe that. Guys, moving forward, be sure and join us on Thursday. We've got that new rollout for the App Wizard. And then we'll be back to talk about that next week. After that, we will be going to a 2-week cadence on our office hours here. If you have any questions, any follow-ups, Andrew at J2, Adam at J2, I'm thinking of you. Be sure and open up a support ticket about things you're not seeing. Same thing with, I think Enrique saw something that was just spinning and not moving. Be sure and carbon copy your account managers, so if any escalation is needed, they've got full visibility of this. Adam, Benjamin, any parting comments?
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Adam. That was really awesome.
Yeah, that was absolutely. And it's always kind of fun to watch people who used to consume software for a living now figure out how to build it. And that's it's been kind of fun to watch Adam and both Ben, who used to sit on the other side of this call, kind of figure out what it's like to be over here and bang our heads out and try to figure this stuff out. So, for anybody who had to drop early in the past, remember these are all on YouTube, so I hope you follow up there. If we don't chat again before Thursday, y'all have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you when we start talking about App Wizard.
I saw another integration for you guys. Congrats.
All kinds of new stuff coming, Enrique.
Rocket
Sometimes an
science.
avalanche. Yep. All right, y'all take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah.